Hey everyone, welcome to my channel as a married man. I want to thank you for tuning in and checking it out. It is here where we talk about love, life, relationships, and more, all from the perspective of a married man. So I want you to go ahead, go ahead and smash that like button, guys, and subscribe to the channel. It will totally help me out. I totally appreciate it. Um, so today I'm not actually going to go over an article. I'm actually reviewing another YouTube video that was made by a woman named Michelle Martinez. And the video she made is titled, I initiated sex every day for 28 days. Here's what happened. So if you're interested in this video by Michelle and you want to check it out yourself, I'll definitely post a link to her video. Um, I'd play the video and talk over it or over her talking or something. I'm not sure if I'm allowed to do that. So I don't know if that's considered like stealing content or I'm not even sure how I do that. I'm still pretty new to the YouTube thing. But I didn't want to play her video and get into some sort of trouble. So I'm just gonna go over kind of what she said in the course of her video, and then of course, give my opinion at the end as a married man. So to start off this video by Michelle, she states real quick that a lack of sex in a relationship, it can definitely be harmful to any relationship. Your partner can feel unwanted, and on top of that, it can be detrimental to yourself, like, especially when it comes to like initiating intimacy, um, in times when you don't even want to. Um, she mentions the term, it's like overriding your body, which I thought was an interesting take. So she brings up a good point there, like don't have sex, don't initiate it if like you're not feeling it, you know? Like that's not what sex is all about. You need that emotional connection and the love, and you need to want to have sex, and they don't override your body to where you're just doing it out of what you think is like obligation or something. So, as a married guy, I totally understand where she's coming from when she mentions that. But Michelle also states that she is a sex, love, and relationship coach, and that she's here to help humanity thrive sexually and spiritually. And I think that's great. That's nice. That's a noble cause. Coming from a married man, that's definitely a noble cause. Being a sex and relationship coach, sometimes you need that third party to come in there and give an objective take on a relationship that's going stale or something. So, I understand the need for that, and yeah, I think that's a noble cause. But she wanted to share in this video. She wanted to share 5 things that she learned by initiating sex for 28 days in a row. Um, she does mention that she usually isn't the partner to initiate sex. And she states that she has what's called a responsive sexual desire, which basically means that when it comes to sex, she needs like some sort of context or a reason. Um, Whereas like on the other end of the spectrum, there's people who have the spontaneous sexual desire. Um, they can satiate their sexual needs kind of, she says kind of like hunger. But for her, she has a responsive sexual desire, and she needs to, yeah, she needs a reason or context. She needs more than just, to fulfill a base desire that pops up. And I understand that. It's not something I really thought about in the past, but, I'm kind of the spontaneous type, but I understand where she's coming from in response to having a responsive sexual desire. So yeah, she doesn't initiate it very much, and I'm guessing much to the chagrin of her husband. But this, yeah, Michelle, she set out to change things, and that's kind of nice. Um, but yeah, she continues on, and she states that she did notice there was an imbalance in her relationship with her husband, and in regards to who was initiating sex, and she admits that it didn't really seem fair that her poor husband was the one who always had to take the initiative and to start things and initiate intimacy. And then, that goes back to her being the responsive type, and her husband's the spontaneous type, maybe. But it's pretty cool that she did see that imbalance and did strive to remedy that situation. So, it's a sign of like a healthy relationship there, where you see the faults and you try to fix it. And that's pretty cool in my opinion. But Michelle goes on to mention how she had an upcoming everyday embodiment challenge. And so she thought she would try to fit that in with the month of November, with the 28 days. And um, she also goes on to add, and I thought this was also very important. She mentions that her and her husband have an excellent, like, emotional foundation for their marriage. Like, they have a solid connection, um, and that's important because uh, she's not doing this to try to fix like a dying relationship. To fix an imbalance of intimacy or anything. There's a disclaimer there. It's one thing to have a nice, healthy, happy, fulfilling marriage and relationship. And this is kind of just icing on the cake, you know what I mean? Sex for 28 days being initiated. But like, if you have a unhealthy relationship, a troubled relationship, abusive or neglectful, like, if you do not have a solid relationship, then initiating sex for 28 days is not gonna it's not gonna fix anything. Sorry to say, like, sex isn't some magic fix all in a relationship. Like, sex is supposed to be, an expression of love. And if you don't have that foundation of love in your marriage and your relationship, then this isn't gonna work. So, I thought it was cool that, Michelle added that in there, that her and her husband have that solid foundation. And that's important, in my opinion, as a married man, of course. But moving on from that, um, she mentioned the five things she noticed. And so, number one that Michelle noticed was initiating intimacy. It did not have to be all about just intercourse. Um, Initiating intimacy didn't mean having to just initiate sex. And that's true, yeah, in my opinion as well. My intimacy doesn't always have to be sex. I even just, as a married guy, real quick, like, sex 28 days in a row of just sex is like, man, I'd be wiped out after I'd be wiped out after like the 13th day or something. Like, so she talks about like, sex is more, it's more than just the physical aspect, the orgasm or whatever she said. It's about wanting to feel connected and to feel desired and, to feel attractive. So on those days when she didn't want to get physical, she made sure at least, my terms of being physical, not like not sex, but on the days where she didn't want to have sex, she at least had some sort of physical connection. Um, and that's topped off with like, a lot of positive affirmation and stuff. So, yeah, even a hug or a kiss or cuddling on the couch, that means a lot to your partner. It doesn't just have to be sex. So that's a good point in my opinion. And she also went on to talk about how, we're kind of conditioned in a way to think that women are the ones who solely need that constant attention and validation. But, Michelle points out, like, guys need that too, which is true. It's just that simple, I love you to your male spouse. It actually does mean quite a bit. So, um, like moving on to number two, she talked about how she enjoyed initiating sex that focused on his pleasure. That's pretty much what every guy wants to hear, to be honest, Michelle. But she does mention that even if she wasn't in the mood for sex, like she found alternative methods. She mentions a lingam massage, and I don't know what that is, but I'll have to do some homework and look that up. But basically, if sex wasn't on the menu, she at least do a massage in there, and that's cool. Um, so I think this is Michelle's number three because she kind of stops naming them after the second one. But she states that in order to get herself into, the mindset, so to speak, she would have to do something to find her yes, as she calls it. And it's something as simple as asking for a massage or a walk together. Something basically to get her into the mood. And she basically needed to at times to transition from, the work mode, the job mode, into a home mode, like a personal, intimate mode. And that's valid, of course. The last thing you want is to come home after a hard day at work. You're not really thinking about like sex right off the bat. You got to transition yourself a little bit. So like I understand where she's coming from. Like she had to find her yes, and that meant like having to transition your mindset like off of work into something more personal. So, but from here she goes on a side note that if you're the type that wants to feel productive or needs to feel productive, then that can definitely dampen your sex drive. Um, like sex is sex for sex sake, you know what I mean? Like sex is sex. It's not something you're doing to be productive. It's more of an emotional thing and a pleasure thing. And don't mix your productivity mindset with sex. They're two entirely different things. And yeah, once again, as a married guy, I totally understand that. Um, but moving on, I think this is her number four. Like I said, she stops calling out the numbers after her bullet points, but I kind of got a little lost in her five things list. But she did she did find that she initiated sex because of something she wanted sexually. Um, one of those things was a yoni massage. I don't know if that is the Lancome massage and a yoni massage. I don't know what those are. I'm gonna have to do homework after this. But a massage is a good alternative to sex, I guess, is what she's trying to say. Um, her number four, from what I think is her number four, is that she initiated the type of thing she wanted from sex, and these massages were some of those things. That was her number four, her number five. I got lost. I'm sorry, guys. Michelle, you didn't call them out. Do better next time. All right. But anyways, kind of to finish up the video, like Michelle, she talks about how her husband loved February, and she initiated sex and sex-related activities 28 days in a row, and her husband totally loved it, which that's kind of obvious. That's kind of obvious. Like I don't know any man that would not like that of a wife, like going out of her way to initiate is every single day something. Doesn't have to be sex, but just she's catering to your emotional and your physical needs. And yeah, Michelle mentions that her husband was loving it. Like he seemed like he was more filled up emotionally. He was more loving, he was more complimentary, and yeah, my guy, he my guy must have been in heaven during this month, like lucky son of a bitch. But but yeah, yeah, Michelle, she ends the video this she ends the video at this point by mentioning those massages again, the Gangnam massage or Yanni massage, and you can get a free, I'm sorry, you can get a week of free access to her sexual healing massage courses by using the link in the video. So like looking back at her video, it's like, he's sly devil. She's dropping all these yoga terms and making me want curious about them. And now look at you offering your sexual massage courses. And well played, Michelle. Well done. All right. But anyways, like, what are my thoughts on this video as a married man? Like I mentioned in past videos how like personally I'm pretty grounded in like the manosphere. Like I like to think of myself as being pretty red pilled, and I follow a lot of like these MTOW men's channels. I follow a lot of like men's relationship channels in general. Like the MTOW ones are pretty on the extreme, but believe it or not, I do also follow YouTubers, blogs, and articles, journals from the opposite side of the spectrum. So I try to at least, be pretty even keeled when it comes to, the type of relationship advice I take. Like these MTOW red pill YouTube type guys, they can be pretty toxic after a while. So, like channels like Michelle's are pretty cool as they're just talking about just healthy relationships in general. It's nice to hear anyone preach love and relationships and marriage and the importance of it and the importance of keeping them healthy. So it's nice to follow some content that's more positive in regards to the relationship aspect. Yeah, and that's where Michelle comes in. So, but she did. Michelle made a lot of good points in this video, in my opinion. Um, like as a married man, a wife, a fiance, a girlfriend. Like just having your partner take the initiative for 28 for 28 days is like that's every guy's dream right there. Hell, even if it's just 7 days, a week of it is being pampered is, man, that's bliss right there, you know. Um, yeah, like any guy in a relationship would be thrilled by this. But Michelle, as I said, she makes a lot of good points. Like number one, she stated that yeah, her relationship with her husband is solid and they have great communication skills and you know, you need that. You need to be in a strong, committed, loving relationship to do something like this. The 28 days of, you know, initiation. If you're in an abuseful, neglectful type of relationship, like, you know, sex isn't going to fix anything. And God forbid if you're not into having sex with your partner, whether it's your husband or boyfriend or whatever, like, don't do it. Like, it's not helping yourself. It's not helping him. It might even give that poor guy like false hope or something. Like, don't use sex as a weapon. Don't use sex as a crutch. Don't use sex as a band-aid. Like sex for sex sake. As I said earlier, like it's about the pleasure aspect and the emotional aspect. You know, make sure you're on good footing before you attempt something like this. But another good point that Michelle makes, you know, coming from a married man in her top five list that kind of went to pieces. Another good point Michelle makes is that intimacy doesn't have to be sex. Like she went on to say that if she wasn't in the mood for being like physical, yeah, at least she'd be affectionate, you know. She'd give lots of affirmations and stuff, and that's good to hear. Um, she mentioned that we're kind of conditioned to think of women needing like validation and attention, and but you know, guys do need that too. On another note, however, I will say, if you listen carefully, you can hear like thousands of MTOW red-pilled guys kind of laughing at that statement. Um, God knows that every YouTube men's channel, they hammer the fact that the reason so many women cheat is that they crave validation, you know, like women crave attention. That's not something Michelle covers. It has nothing to do with the article, but just talking about validation and in general attention and validation. Like as a married man, I will agree that women crave it. You know, that's just the truth. I don't know if Michelle will disagree or not, but women do want attention, especially you know as they age, as they hit that wall, so to speak. You know, that's the time when that office chat or the gym chat or a wild hotel lounge business conference chat, who shows up and he starts doing compliments at your wife and starts plying her with alcohol. And, you know, the next thing you know, your wife's getting featured in a Reddit relationship story on YouTube. And you know, usually the excuse given by the woman, the cheating spouse, is he was giving me so much validation and he was giving me so much attention, and it's like that. It just goes to show that I'm sorry, this is way off topic, but it just goes to show that um I just wanted to make sure that the side note got in there that that's the power of affection, of validation, of like affirmations, compliments, like that's the kind of power they wield. Guys need them, but women crave them. And if you're not giving them to your spouse, to your wife, to your husband, guys, if you're not giving your wife compliments, if you're not giving her validation, positive validation, that wild chat out there, he's gonna be giving it to her. You can guarantee it. So just keep that in mind, guys. Michelle didn't touch on that topic at all. I didn't expect her to, but just understand the power that comes with validation and attention, and it can destroy a relationship. But back to what Michelle did have to say. Sorry, Michelle, for that. Back to what Michelle had to say. She continues about she didn't always initiate sex for his pleasure, and as a married man, like that's cool. Like if there's something like she initiated sex for his pleasure, which is great. But she goes on to state that she also initiated sex for her pleasure, and that's cool too. Like, as a guy, as a married man, as a man in general, like, sex is sex. Like, if you're doing it to pleasure us, then that's awesome. If you're doing it to pleasure you, then I don't know what the hell that saying is. Like, sex is like pizza. Like, even if it's bad, it's still pretty good, or something. Even if it's cold, I don't remember what the saying is, but you know what I'm getting at. Like, if the sex is about her pleasure, you can still enjoy it, guys. Like, we're just happy to be here. So when it comes to sex, um, but those are good points. Like, um, but she does go on to say that, and she ended things by saying something that was it was pretty obvious that she noticed a change in her husband during those 28 days. She said that, he was full, he was more affectionate and loving and caring, and like any guy that gets love bombed by his partner is gonna feel on top of the world. I'm sorry to use the MTOW red pill, the description, the love bombing, but that's just the red pill in me right there. Like, love bombing is a red flag. So, it's gonna bring up some suspicion in your partner if it just happens out of nowhere. You're just plying him with love and sex, and it, you shouldn't be love bombing in general. It should be something that's kind of pretty constant. But ladies, if you're just out of nowhere, just throwing love at your partner like that, that's pretty suspicious, I'll have to say. But it's not a bad thing, of course. Like, if you're doing it to strengthen your relationship, if you're doing it to show how much you do love them, then it's all good. But what are your intentions here? That's the kind of what's on the modern man's mind. Like, why are you doing this all of a sudden? You know what I mean? So, uh, the unfortunate side effect of, modern relationships and the cheating app culture that's prevalent, love bombing is kind of suspicious. So you just keep that in mind, both guys and girls. Um, but anyways, like Michelle, I hope you're not mad I reviewed your video. I did want to say you did make a lot of great points. I got lost when your 5 points kind of disintegrated halfway in between the article, but you made me have to look up all these different massages. I'd never heard of these before. But for Michelle's article here, there's like no downsides to doing this, to just taking the initiative and just for a specified amount of time, just love bombing your partner just because you want to, because you care, because you see that maybe things have gotten a little one-sided. Um, there's like no downsides to this whatsoever. And the guy, as a married man, I could pretty much guarantee your spouse is gonna love it, and he's gonna love you even more for doing it. And guys do like to know that they are wanted and cared for and stuff. So, um, like sex is part of showing love, and love is the foundation of any relationship. And yeah, I'm not a licensed therapist or love coach. I'm just a married guy, but I just think it's great, wanting to strengthen a relationship and a marriage. Um, so yeah, I thought this was a great article, and it brought up a lot of valid points. And um, you guys, if you're listening, subscribe to Michelle's channel, like her video. She does have more subscribers than me, so I have to declare war on her channel. Have to declare war on her channel now, and Hannah Barron and Hannah Nealman and Mr. Beast and everyone else who has more than 13 subscribers. I have to beat these guys now. But anyways, aside from the subscription thing, you know, uh, leave me a comment about what you think, guys. Drop a like, please subscribe. And go ahead and share this article. Go ahead and share this video I made. Um, Give Michelle some love on her channel. You guys are out there collecting 80s vintage toys like G.I. Joe and Star Wars. Link is in the subscription. First week's free. I'm always looking. If you got some, you're sitting in the attic, hit me up. But other than that, guys, have a good day. I will see you in the next video. And thanks for listening. Bye for now.